It's a rainy day out here in the Makuhari, Chiba area of Japan. And lo and behold, the Book Off Super Bazaar. Let's go ahead and go inside and check out the goodies. Straight to the cookies and cream at the showcase. A lot of Super Famicom stuff in here. And this muscle bomber, 3,400 yen. This has been on my radar for a while. 37.40 after the sales tax, and this is a tax-free shop. Now, you know, with these Super Book Off Bazaars, they have so much stuff. You know, this is a gaming channel, so we're just going to focus on the video games here. But it's a high-volume store, meaning a lot of people and a lot of product is coming in and out. So, you know, anyhow, what do we got here? Got some GameCube. We got some Famicom titles. Some of these Famicom titles are a bit hard to see, but look, ActRaiser here for the Super Famicom. 3,200 yen. We have Gambare Goemon, one of them. I think that's the sequel, 6,300 yen, which, you know, that's lower than what you would expect to see at a place like Akiba. That's the 2.5D Goemon, by the way. And then what do we have? Makaimura there for 4,000 and some change. We have another Gambare Goemon Part 3 for 4,300 yen. I feel like those games dropped in value a little bit. And then we got Tournament Fighter in the back, 17,000 yen. And then some Hammering Harry there for 12,000 with the 20% discount. And then we have Area 88 for 6,300. And then Salamander for 8,600 yen. And this one is also being sold online off of the Book Off website with that little these little stickers. You see them here on Battletoads as well as Ninja Gaiden for 7,700 yen. And then up top we have Toshinden for the old Game Boy. That's a great game. That's a fun little fighter by Takara. Super fun fighter, but man, that one's and I want to say the Game Boy version is better than the PlayStation and Saturn version. But there's Area 88. I was eyeing that one, and Muscle Bomber, Saturday Night Slime Masters. I didn't pick up either, by the way. But guys, you know, if you're here, I mean, look at that whole aisle. This is just the retro software, by the way. But Chrono Trigger, they had multiple copies, and they were all priced at 2,300 yen. This is the one that was the most stained. The other ones were fairly clean. But, you know, while I was browsing the games here, you know, a lot of people were coming in, and there was a fellow, a freaking whale. And I don't mean by his physical presence, but, you know, he just came in, 2 baskets and a cart. He just loaded up with just full of stuff. And, you know, that's just the way it goes. You know, if you're visiting Japan, you're going to go all out. You're going to go crazy. Now, I did pick this one up, Gambare Goemon, for 3,600 yen before that sales tax, and it was super clean. It came with all the little inserts, the postcard, the manual, everything was pristine, the baggies. Super happy with that one. And I do have a copy of the game, but mine is all banged up, and when I saw that, I'm like, it's time to upgrade. I also have the North American version of that, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and then Breath of Fire there for 2,300 yen. We got Super Street Fighter 2 from Capcom there for 2,700 yen. Now, the prices that I'm quoting is before that 10% sales tax, but it is a tax-free shop, so make sure you have your... I believe it's a tax-free shop. But F-Zero here for 1,800 yen, 20% off. It's pretty rough, that one. But that's the thing about Book Off. If you're after, like, you know, if condition is a big thing, I don't really recommend coming to Book Off because... not all. I got lucky with that Mystical Ninja on the Super Famicom because not all of their games are going to be, you know, they have some mangy stuff in here, man. 1,600 yen there for Super Exevious for the Famicom. We got another Famicom title here. What is this? Dragon Slayer 4. Dresel family, something like that. Could be a good one. But language barrier is probably going to be a big one on that one. And then they have... some Final Fantasy 3, 2,700 yen. Some places will have that game upwards of 6,000 yen and more. But as you can see, like the condition, this is where things are, you know, it's not so good. So remember that. If condition is your thing, you know, it's going to be a huge gamble. 2,700 here for Super Mario Advance 2, which is Super Mario Bros. 4, Super Mario World in the States. That's a mouthful. What else do we have? We got Game Boy titles up at the top. Nothing really interesting. I think the killer app on the Game Boy that they had was that Toshinden. at least from the completeness side of things. That Toshinden is pretty fun. What else do we got? We got some more Goemon action here. They had a lot of Goemon games, man. Now, this is his Great Adventure or something like that in the States, 1,800 yen. I do like that one. In fact, I like that one more than the sequel on the N64. 900 yen there for Super Mario Kart with the 10% discount. We got Final Fantasy 6 or 3 for 1,800 yen. But you know, the pricing isn't too bad, especially considering that, you know, like Makuhari Messe is not too far away, and that's where they hold like the Tokyo Game Show. So this is like a really heavy, and then Disneyland is not too far. Final Fight here for 23.19, but it's mangy. So you see what I'm talking about? But you know, Disneyland, it's a bunch of stuff is nearby. So yeah, that's hence the tourists. But there was far more locals than there were tourists. We got ActRaiser here for 2,900 yen, which isn't a bad thing, you know, tourist, whatever. Book Off is in the game of selling. Here we got Ranma 1/2. I do want this one. 3,200 yen. Now, I flipped it over because that's like the loose cart edition. It didn't have like the little tray. Here's another copy of Goemon for 3,600 yen. Now, this one's a bit more rough, and it did have a discount sticker there. But yeah, the selection, man, not too bad. Super Street Fighter 2 again. Yeah, or Street Fighter 2, the vanilla, 720 and with 20% off. That's definitely the lowest that I've seen in over a year. They had another copy of ActRaiser there. A whole bunch of Dragon Quest, as you can see. And just a whole bunch of other, you know, a mixture of first party, your standard racers, more Ranma 1/2. Now, this is like the earliest fighting game. I think there's 3 in total for the Super Famicom. And I used to have the middle one, or the sequel, which was Hard Battle. This is like the original one. Now, this one could be rough, but 1,500 yen, that's not too bad. I've never seen the anime, but seems like it could be a funny one. And then the loose cards, what do we have here? We got some Double Dragon 3, the Rosetta Stone, for 2,000 yen. Some Dragon Ball Z 2 for 900 yen. Now, you can spend a lot of time if loose cards is your thing here. Here we have the Goonies for 900 yen. Look at that cover. Excellent. And what is this? Twin B3? Part 3 there. And then Super Mario Bros. 3, 1988, 480 yen. And then the original one at the same price. And they had a whole bunch of those loose. And then Akumajo Densetsu for 5,000 yen. That's just the loose cart. We have Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. And then Rockman, the loose cart. That one's going up slowly. Now, if you want that one complete in the box, at least 50 to 60,000 yen. And then Super Aleste, 3,200 yen. That's a very good deal. But that whale that I saw earlier, he picked this up. As a matter of fact, we'll revisit the showcase because I'm telling you, it was impressive. I was impressed with the shopping spree of that madman. 720 yen, which, you know, that was me when I first visited Japan, hitting up the game shops. I didn't know if I was going to be coming back, so I loaded up like there was no tomorrow. Here we have another Super Double Dragon, the Return of Double Dragon. I do have that game. Now, this was kind of tempting. Episode 1 Racer for 480 yen. Just the loose cart. I've been wanting to play that one, but I'd rather play it on the Sega Dreamcast as it has more animation, more visuals. I'm surprised they didn't use that version for the HD remaster, which is kind of a shame. But the N64 version is no slouch. But yeah, 480. Let's just keep it moving here. We got some all sorts of stuff here. It's great to see this. Now, with these kinds of games coming in like in the plastic cases, you know, the condition is going to be far better. But here we have what is that? Biohazard 2 Revelations 2 for 2,000 yen. And just a whole bunch of visual novels, what you would expect to see on the Vita. A lot of the good stuff is far and few in between. And then we got some PlayStation Portable, which is kind of the same. The same affair. Here we got Biohazard 4, 1,800 yen for the old PlayStation 2. And then look at this, Splinter Cell. Look at this cover, 1,100 yen. And look at the screenshots. Is that really PS2? Because that looks really good. It could be bull shots as they're known. And then Genji, 270 yen. That's peanuts, y'all. I remember beating this game way back, and I also beat the sequel on the PlayStation 3, and they're not bad. You know, they're a little bit generic, but you know, they have their charms. But my biggest gripe with the Genji games is that they're way too long, way too long. Anyhow, what else do we got? We got some Xbox. They had more Xbox 360 and whatnot. But here we have Gears of War Judgment for 900 yen. Kingdom of Amalur, Dead Rising 4, Dishonored HD something remaster, Dishonored 2. I think I have a Dishonored game. Yeah, I do on the PlayStation 3, but I haven't opened it yet. Should get around to that. Although I have played it back in the States, but PlayStation 2, a lot of good stuff here. Maybe. I actually didn't dig too deep into the PlayStation 2 because, you know, the way that we collect things, it's always going to be cyclical, especially if you're a multi-platform kind of dude. Sometimes you play one PlayStation 2 games and then all of a sudden it's in vogue, you know, you're looking stuff up and you're hunting for it. And then sometimes you're just after old Sega Mega Drive. That's kind of the groove that I am currently in. Sega Mega Drive, y'all. Before that, it was PC Engine. Here we have Biohazard 2 for 3,200 yen. And they had quite a few copies. Now, that's going to be the base price for a lot of these games. Here we have Gun Survivor for 1,500. And then 2,700 yen for Biohazard 3. But as you can see, a few of them have discounts because they're just like missing stuff. Mangier. What else? We got Biohazard 2,300 yen. Which I got to do the same thing that I did with Gambare Goemon with my original Biohazard copy for the PS1. I was looking at it and I was like, dang, it's all like sun-faded hardcore. NBA Jam Tournament Edition, 1,500 yen. I was thinking about this one. But nah. No Obi card, y'all. You know how it goes. Let's see. Ridge Racer Type 4, 270 yen. That's a no-brainer. That's a great game. Dino Crisis, 270. I recently got rid of both of them. And no more. I'm never probably going to play Dino Crisis. I don't know. I tried getting into it, but I just can't. And then here we have the Makaimura Generations 2 collection. That's an excellent collection. Look at this winning lure. Look at the controller. Look at that. I've never seen that controller, but that's kind of interesting. That game could be fun, and one published by Hori even. They're just trying to sell their accessories naturally. But here we have some Xbox 360 and Xbox games. What do we have? Something Tennis 3, 720 yen for Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. What else do we have? Raccoon City, BioShock for 480. A lot of solid titles, but you know. I'm sure most of those titles are inexpensive in the States, Europe. Panzer Dragoon Orta, 1,800 yen. Now, this should include the soundtrack. This is an excellent game. If you have the Series X, it'll upscale it. You get some beautiful visuals. I believe this is Genma Onimusha, which that's a really cool game. And that one does have full English language options. Here we have The Road to Hill 30. Look at this. Is this Band of Brothers? I remember my brother used to have that game. What else do we have? Sunset Overdrive. I got rid of my Sunset Overdrive. I'm never going to play it. 900 yen. And it's probably a good game, but you know, we gotta curate our time as well as the collection. That's the new slogan moving forward. What else do we have? We have EX, the Game of Life probably. Never played those games. I probably never will either. I do the real deal, y'all. Here we have some strategy. I didn't look at the strategy guides. I totally slipped on that. But we got some Sega Dreamcast. Look at the single Mega CD game by Wolf Team. Some strategy RPG. Cool cover, but and the lone 3DO game, Total Eclipse. I almost beat that game like last year, but it's so repetitive. Biohazard Code Veronica. With that Total Eclipse, what is it? Solar Eclipse, I think, on the Saturn is definitely better. Here we have Grandia, 720 yen. I beat this way back in the day. And it wasn't a bad game. It was actually pretty good. And then we have some double header action here, 1995. Kind of an interesting visual style. And from the looks of it, we got the J-League license there. Or not J-League, but the Japan Baseball League. Lunar. That's going to be the one that doesn't support the MPEG card. And then Manx Super Manx TT, or Manx TT Superbike, crossing the checkpoint. We got Master of Monsters. This is a long-running series, and I believe it's on the Switch, at least a remaster, and they probably got a new one. Here we have Puyo Puyo Sun, Fighting Vipers. So they got a lot of the great fighting games, a lot of the what you would expect to see, even Virtua Fighter Kids. And then Battle Garret. Look at this beast, just kind of hiding in the stacks. 18,000 yen. That's crazy. That thing should be in the showcase, man. Such disrespect. What do we have? Some wrestling game featuring Virtua. Now this thing I've seen for many times, and it's pretty heavy. And look at this cover. I've seen this before. 1,800 yen, simple 1500 series. Some kind of visual novel. And look at this thing. 1,800 yen for the PS1, some kind of like FMV type of game. Vampire Hunter, more excellent fighting games. And what the heck is this? Densya Go, some train game. We got a shooting game there for the PS1. What else? Something jumbo. Street Fighter Zero for 1,100 yen. That's not actually too bad of a price. And then Daedalus, 720 yen. They had 2 copies of this. I used to have that, but again, I just couldn't really get into it, so I just got rid of it. Now this, Sexy Parodius. I had this in my cart, but I did not pick it up. Shining the Holy Ark. I had that in my cart too, but I put it back. What am I thinking sometimes? Wing Arms, 480 yen. I love this game. I beat it on the many years ago, and then I purchased it a few years ago, and I beat it again. It's such a great little shooter. It's definitely rough around the edges, being an early Saturn title, but I definitely have a lot of fun with that one. Wing Arms. What else do we have in here? Afterburner 2, 1,800 yen, no Obi card. Now, when I picked up my copy at a hard off out near Omiya, not too far from Omiya, I think I paid like 7,000 yen. So dang. And then we have Lunatic Dawn 3. I do like this cover. It's a game that I see every now and then. And then Raystorm, excellent game. Runabout 2. This is pretty fun too for 480. And then the Racing Toyota. I don't know if that's any good though, but the Saturn selection, very small, but if you're into fighting games, they had an excellent selection there. And now we're going to make our way into some hardware. What do we have here? Look at all these amiibos. And then we got the PS4 Pro, 19,000 yen and 24,000 yen. That's, with the way things are now, economically speaking, the PS4 and all its variants, it's kind of expensive in Japan, I feel. Like back in 2022, especially 2023, you could find quite a few of them. Like nearing the 10,000 yen mark, but now everything is like closer to the 20,000 yen mark. We got a PS5 Pro. What's the price on that bad boy? That was coming in at 96,000, I think. 45,437 yen for the vanilla PS5. And let's see here. We got some old PlayStation Vitas. What's the average price on these guys? 16,000 yen with an assortment of discounts all around across the board. We got the mini consoles, 5,400 yen. I'm so done with the mini consoles. I got one left. I've sold all of them. Not that I had too many to begin with, but I just got the Sega Astro City, and I'm not going to get rid of it because of Golden Axe 2, The Revenge of Death Adder. Excellent game. And look at this. We got a 2DS, Pokemon flavored one for 27,255 yen. We got some Nintendo 3DSs. And the vanilla 3DS, which is my favorite flavor. We got the 2DS LL there. The 2DS LL, I do like the form factor, but I could never own one just because of the lack of stereoscopic 3D. And then I was just cruising here through the junk section, and check this bad boy out. We got a Kirby here. Now I think that this thing blows bubbles, and it's coming in at 500 yen. And I think this is where you put in like the soapy liquid. That thing would be kind of cool, man. But you know, I don't have a need for it, but I wish I did. But 550 yen there. Now, oh man, this is dangerous right here. We're heading into a dangerous area, kind of like Ganbare Goemon when it's warning you, and that's going to be the audio. I picked up some audio here when I was here. I had to do it. 2,300 yen for these little towers. Look at this. This would be cool, man. Sometimes I just want to like test this stuff, you know? But like test it properly in the game room with the old Sega or Super Nintendo hooked up to it. That's not a bad little speaker there. And then here we have now these are not wood cone, but they're the ones just a step down from the wood cone. And they do have like the wood type of color. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, see? But they're not actual wood cone. But these little speakers are not bad. I used to own a pair of these like a few years ago. But yeah, just so many great pieces of audio here. I picked up a Kenwood compact hi-fi system that has the graphic EQ, and that's going to be hooked up to my little lo-fi hi-fi retro gaming station. And that thing is really cool. Anyhow, let's focus on the games here. And lo and behold, the junk section of games. Look at that. Look at all these goodies. Now up top, now this caught my eye. The PC Engine, the vanilla release, 10,780 yen. Now I did ask to take a look at this, and man, it was dirty. You're gonna need more than a toothbrush. Yeah, 10,780 yen. It was missing the controller. Now, you know, if you give it a good cleaning, you could probably regain some of the brilliance. Look, we have an OLED Switch, 19,800 yen. Now, the reason it's here, as far as I can tell, is that it came from a hardcore smoker's home. So, like, in the little note there, it was just saying that it smells of, like, secondhand smoke. We got a GameCube in the box for 8,580, 6,380 for the Wii U. Those are climbing slowly. We got the Super Famicoms at 4,180, and the original Famicoms coming in at 1980. Now, I highly recommend you guys take a look at those Famicoms in the box, because sometimes they include those really cool, like, disc system posters. You know, that's what happened to me. I ended up buying one, and I got one of the Zelda Densetsu posters. It was included in there. That was such luck. Here we got some AC adapters. What's this? 10 volt, 850 milliamps. What's that for the Super Famicom? What else do we have here? Just all sorts of stuff. I do like digging through here because you just never know what you find. I ended up picking up some of these. Oh yeah, I picked up some of these cables because with the TV that I got, the little CRT, I picked up the perfect little cable, just a mono 3.5 millimeter jack to an RCA jack, and you know, I get a clear signal direct. And then what is this? The scramble? I'm not really sure. And then here we have the Virtual Gun for 1,980. Get the Densya Go controller. What else do we have? We got some Dreamcast for 5,280. Now they do have, you can test this stuff out, but you have to go to the cash register, and you know, they'll gladly plug it in for you. I don't know if they'll have an actual television, but at least you know, if you get power, that's a really good sign. What else do we hear? We have here more cables. This Game Boy Pocket adapter. That's 330 yen for the wireless charger adapter thing. And they had a whole bunch of like recordable media here. Even like old floppy disks. Look at this. A 2-pack, 300 yen. Look at that. I wonder if they had any like zip disks. Remember those? What was like the storage on that? Like 100 megabytes, 64 megabytes, something like that. Those were all the rage back then. And then another showcase. Here we got the little DS TV adapter. And that bad boy's coming in at 4,180. What else do we got in here? 1980 for the Pocket Station. 1430 there for the VMU. And then that little Gundam PSP, what is that? 34,100 yen. They also had a GameCube Luigi controller back there. I don't know. Well, it's the GameCube shape, but it could be for the Switch. Here we got the camo PSP, a little bit rough. No, it's definitely rough, which is why the reason why it's in this showcase. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be, there's going to be issues. Here we got a little headphone amp, 3,080 for that. And then the green Game Boy, 6,380 next to the Famicom Color SP for 20,900 yen in the box. But there's definitely issues. And look at this, the Game Boy Micro, the Final Fantasy Edition, 25,300 yen. And there's definitely issues there with the A button or something. My gosh. I think I'm done with the handhelds, personally. Maybe. 8580. Game Boy DMG. We got some controllers. And what's this one? Look at that. 4180 for that GameCube looking one. And what else oh, look at this. Apple iPods. 990 yen. That's cool. And then the PSP battery pack, 880. I picked one of these up. I've been needing one of these. And then this section here is all like the modern stuff with a little bit of retro. We're going to focus more on the retro. A lot of like handheld games here. All sorts of stuff. If you go digging. There was actually, what was funny is there was a local dude just kind of digging through here. He just took a seat on the floor and just going through each little basket. The dedication, the passion in that. Astro Boy, 4,100 yen. What is this? Chomakai Mura, 7,200 yen. Metroid Fusion for 3,200 yen. That's not too bad. That is not too bad at all. And then we have Contra Spirits for 2,700 yen. That is an excellent game. Highly, highly recommend it. And I believe it's a part of the Contra collection that's out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox, Steam. And look at this little Nemo on the Nintendo DS. Me personally, I would probably never play something like that. Not because it's bad, but it's just not my cup of tea. But it could be fun. Anyhow, what do we have here? Some Doraemon. I want to play one of these Doraemon. I'm not going to play Little Nemo, but I will play a Doraemon game. Some of those look pretty good. And then we have this Sega like mini type of game. Like a compilation of mini games. This could be good too. I wouldn't mind playing that. For 270 yen. That's not a bad price. I should have took a gamble on that one. Let's see what else. And one thing that I do, especially when I see a lot of people shopping in the gaming area, if I'm unsure about a game, I just put it in the basket and I'll make a decision later, especially if I'm, like filming and doing other stuff. But that's the way to do it. Sometimes, you'll get around to it, and if not, you just put it back. Super Street Fighter 4, 270 yen. Man, that's a good price. And that one does have full English language options. We have Street Fighter Cross Tekken for 720 yen. That game is, I love fighting games, so, for sure it's up my alley. But as a whole, I don't know. Earth Defense Force, 270 yen. That's a great price. And those games are pretty fun. I have to admit, they're pretty fun. We got Rain. They had 2 copies, 3,200 yen for both, or each. And then BioShock Infinite, 1,500 yen, the complete edition. I do want that, but I'm not going to pay more than 500 yen for it. I want to play that DLC, but I can wait. What do we have? Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. There's a lot of those music games here in Japan. I think more than in the States. I think Konami had like a successful line here as well. And then the old Switch. If you like Switch games, well, let's see the prices. 5,500 yen for Tears of the Kingdom. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, 10,500 yen. So a pretty standard affair with the prices so far. We got ARMS, 3,200 yen. That's a launch title, and I've never once played it. It's a fighting game. I should give it a chance. But then we have Rockman 11 for 2,700 yen. And here we're back at the showcase. And something is amiss here. You know, the dude that was here earlier, you know, he was going buck wild, man. It was a sight to behold. I was kind of excited for him because I was like, heck yeah, man. Tales of Rebirth, 270 yen. Back in the, look at this cover to Arc the Lad. That's such an interesting cover. Really interesting, that one. And then we have some Square game, some Mana game, I don't know, Saga something. And then Rayman, look at this, Rayman 2, 7,200 yen. This is a little bit of a rare game. But rare just because I don't really often see it. But guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Expect more out of the Chiba area. I'm going to be out here for the remainder of the week, so there's definitely more stores that I'm going to be hitting up. And until then, take care, and I will see you very, very soon. Ciao.